Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Tip Tuesday. This is Geoffrey Nance here with you. Glad to be with you guys today. We are going to cover a topic called creating a watch list. Before we start that, though, I want to appreciate Kason for filling in last week while I was out on vacation. So hopefully, you guys enjoyed spending some time with him for last week's Tip Tuesday. So, when it comes to creating a watch list, what are the main components that we are looking for? So, what are some of the elements I need to consider? Can I just go pick any stock in the world and trade that? Let's go ahead and answer that question first. In theory, yes, you can. You can go out there and trade anything that's publicly traded, or even in some ways, if your broker allows it, even what they call the pink sheets or OTC markets. Now, here at Tradeway, we do not trade those kinds of stocks. We're looking for stocks that are publicly traded on the major exchanges, but that is a criteria you would need to consider. And we are looking for a three-legged table that includes fundamentals, technicals, and market tone. So before we make any of our trading decisions, we're going to consider all three of those things. And one of the major areas, particularly when it comes to building a watch list, is fundamentals. Now, when it comes to the area of fundamental analysis, we're really talking about how solid is a company? Are they making money? If so, are their profits increasing from one quarter to the next? Are they increasing from 1 year to the next? Or in some cases, are they just simply losing less money? So they're starting to figure out maybe how they're going to make a profit, but you can see an increase there. They're losing less money each quarter or each year. So those are some things to consider. You may like a particular stock. You may have a brand that you enjoy. You may want to trade that. That's fine too. What you want to avoid is a company that is clearly not doing well. There are some companies that sadly enough do go out of business, and that drastically impacts their stock price. So you want to be very aware of that. Try to avoid those stocks that have very, very poor fundamentals. Now, I'm not a huge fundamental guy. I don't go over the top with that. There's a lot of analysis and things that you can do. You can run all your PE ratios. You can run your EPS. You can do all that. You can compare from one industry to the next. And again, it's fine to do all that, but I don't necessarily think it's necessary. I will say, though, that the longer you're planning on buying and holding, the more important fundamental analysis would become. So if you're just planning on being in a trade for a really short period of time, a few days, a couple of weeks, fundamental analysis isn't going to be as important as somebody who might be planning on holding a stock for a year or more. So keep that in mind as well, that when it comes to fundamental analysis, the length of time that you plan on being in that trade is going to be a factor in how much effort you should put into assessing the fundamental analysis aspect of that particular company. Now, if you want to build your own watch list, you can. If you are a member of Tradeway, you purchased one of our options, then you have access to several watch lists that we've already created. Now, this is really, really huge for you because you don't have to go in and do all that work yourself, at least with coming up with the initial basket of stocks to watch. But regardless of whether you are creating a watch list on your own or whether you're with us and you're using one of our particular watch lists, you still have a responsibility to go out there and take that watch list and then pare it down. Because if there's 40 or 50 stocks on a watch list, you're not really going to trade all of those stocks at any given time. So how can you go out there, take a look at that list, and then narrow it down into maybe 2 or 3 stocks that you might be particularly interested in trading at that specific time? And so we're going to focus a little bit more on that area today than just simply creating a watch list all on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to Charts by Tradeway and let you guys see what this would look like. so you can get a sense of how to kind of go through this process on your own. So if you go up here to watch list, you'll notice that we have a few particular opportunities. They're listed here under system: covered call list, options, spreads, stocks. So these are listed as DM, David Mitchell, our founder, DM options, DM spreads, DM stocks. So if you're a newer student, you're just trading stocks right now, you might want to click on this list. Now, there's a couple of different views you can get here. I'm looking at a 3-month list. That gives me a pretty good idea of what that stock is doing. I can clearly see that American Airlines has been in an uptrend for the past 3 months. So it won't give me a ton of detail. I'd have to take it over to charts for that. But it does give me a sense of what I can do with it. I can look at a small thumbnail version, a medium thumbnail version, or a large. I personally prefer the large. Now I have to scroll down more, but at least that gives me a sense of what it's doing. When it's really small, I can't see anything. Now, if you wanted to come over here, I'm up in the top right section, and I just clicked right over here on these 3 lines. And if you were to do that, now it pops up and you can see a few different things. Now there's a lot that you can add over here to this particular list. But if you're someone who's really into the math and you're trying to look at particular things, you might be more interested in this. So for me, one of the things that you can do is you can list this by name. So in other words, it's in alphabetical order. I mean, if there's some reason you wanted to go from the N, V to A, I guess you could do it. But most people are going to go from A to V. Now, oops, I didn't mean to go there yet. So let's go back. So we're going to go up here and we're going to switch back to A to V. Now they're in alphabetical order. That's fine. I don't really see a reason for that. You'll notice all this score stuff. And this is some of the resources that are available to you if you have purchased Charts by Tradeway, where you can go in here and look at these. These are green, yellow, red. You'll notice that's the score for these particular things. So obviously green is better for each of these categories. And so as you kind of get more invested in that, you might want to kind of look through that and consider what it means. And then what you wanted to trade. So obviously your fundamentals, it's green, is going to be good. Notice that some of these, even in our list though, are not green, they're yellow. So it's not, it's not just the only thing you need to consider. There are other factors as well. Another thing that you can do is you can sort by the last price, which again, now that's going to put these in order of the cheapest to the most expensive. Now, if you switch back over here to our previous view, now these are all listed in the order from the cheapest to the more expensive, which I think there's some benefit in doing that. We can go back out here to our 3-month and large. And so now we can go in here and begin to kind of see, okay, so what are the cheapest ones? Because maybe there's a particular range, particularly if you're buying stocks, where you say, well, I'm going to want to stay in this range so I can buy enough shares to make it worthwhile. You can come over here. Now we're going to click mark the select box. All these little boxes popped up in the bottom left here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab some of these. And then what we'll be able to do here in just a bit is once we've found a few that we think we might like, we can move those over either into a list. So add symbols to newly created watch list. So obviously if you want to do that, you said, all right, here's let's just say you want to call this the go now stocks, or something like that, whatever you want, like stocks I'm interested in, you name it, whatever you want. But you're going to create your own watch list. You could do that. And then what you could do is you could go in there, take any of these stocks you like, and then move them over to that watch list. So what we're going to do for today is we're just going to simply move them over to our research tab so we can go through and get a feel of which one of these we might want to trade. So obviously this stock is starting to take off. So what we're looking for, obviously, when we're buying stock, is we need stock that's going to go up. So we're looking for stocks that haven't moved up too far. have a little bit of room to go still. So we'll flag this one. I'll kind of walk you through why we think that might be okay. This one is dropping. If it's hitting a moving average and about to recover, then that could be good as well. CCL might be at a decent spot. Obviously, American is too, but I think they have an earnings report today, so we'll have to go back and look at that. And this one might be okay. And again, we're just looking for stocks that have room to move up, so they're not at resistance. They look like they see, like this one over here, this ESI. It might be ready to move up, but it looks like it's also at a resistance. Even though GSL has moved down for the past 4 days, again, if it hits an EMA and is ready to move up, that could be good. So we'll tag that as well. We're at about $20 mark right now. So I'll grab this last one, and that'll be good for what we're doing today. So now we're going to move those over to our research chain. Now I'm going to go to charts, because I want to get a better feel for what these actually look like. Let's go to like a 3-month view here so we can kind of zoom in. All right, so what we're going to see now is a little bit better view with the EMAs. Is this stock still at a good buy point? Does it have room to go? This one is above all the EMAs. It's not a great buy point, so I don't know that we would consider that one just yet. Now, ESTE is right at the 20-day. If the market moves up again, then this ought to move up. If not, we have a really tight stop out. That's good. So that's a good opportunity there. So we could move that into another watch list. Same thing here with CCL. It is also at a great buy point here. Just needs to break above those. So we found 2 that we would consider moving into another watch list. AAL, as I mentioned, has an earnings report to, let's see, in Thursday. So we would want to skip that one because we're not going to trade any stocks that have earnings this week. RELY, again, is probably pretty close to resistance. Looks like it might only move up 30 cents. So we probably don't need that one on our list. It's a good buy point, but you know, when it comes to moving up to resistance, we're already really close. So we're going to say no to that one. And GSL is also another one that's right where we kind of thought it might be. ARRY is not as good as we thought it might be, so we're going to get rid of it. And MRTN, I think, was our last one. They have an earnings report tomorrow, so we're going to get rid of it. And then VRRM was our next one on our list, but it's already taken off. Now, it's just really, really, really hot. You might think, well, I want to go ahead and buy a stock that's really, really hot, but we don't want to buy it at the top. We don't want to buy it before it dips down here. And so VRRM might be getting to a place where it's going to pull back. So we're not really interested in that one today either. So that took us down to CPRX, ESTE, CCL, and GSL. So that's how we do it, guys. We just created a watch list of potential stocks that we might be interested in trading this week. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to drop those over in the comment section or contact us at Tradeway, and we'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. Thanks for joining us today for another edition of Tip Tuesday. I hope that this has helped you in kind of figuring out how to take some steps in creating a watch list and how to understand the process of how to make that work. Appreciate you guys being with us, and we will see you next time.